sectors as sustainability, for example. We have been doing some work on this, promoting the Chilean green hydrogen strategy, and of course, innovation as well, supporting our national scale-ups and startups with programs as the ProChile Global X and Go Global are some initiatives that show the commitment we have on these important sectors for the world. Just a few more things to highlight how important is the trade relationship between Chile and the UK. Chile was the first country worldwide in signing a bilateral free trade agreement before Brexit happened to give continuity to the operations after Brexit. So we are very proud of that. And going into international trade, the UK is the 12th destination for Chilean exports of services and products. But if we go specifically to services, the UK becomes the 4th most important destination for Chilean services companies. And this is important because here we include all our tech sector startups, for example, fintechs, health techs, sport techs, and of course, clean techs. So we are very keen to move forward and to take forward the support and the agreement we have with the UK government in the services sector. So this will be all from me today. If you need anything from ProChile or ProChile's office in the UK, let us know, and I hope you enjoy this event.
Gracias, Nico. Thank you, Nico. So this event, as I was saying, was built by the Department for International Trade and the British Embassy. So on behalf of the British Embassy, I would love to invite to the stage to Tracy, the DIT, the Department for International Trade Director in Chile. Tracy, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Jorge. Bienvenidos a todos y todas. Es un placer para mí estar aquí con ustedes. And I would like to thank ProChile, first of all, for choosing us as a partner. As you say, this has been something we're working on together, and it's a real honor to be part of this series. ProChile is an important partner for DAT and our Department for International Trade and us here in the Embassy. So thank you very much. It's a joy to be here. So the event, I think, is a really good opportunity to show you how the UK is committed to turning great ideas into great companies that can successfully scale and really go global. I'm going to say a little bit about why the UK is a great place to do business. And I guess that's because that's my job, but I also really mean it. So I'll tell you a little bit about that, and I know that you're going to hear from some real experts in the clean tech ecosystem later. So I'm very excited to see how the rest of it goes. But first of all, from my perspective, why do business in the UK? The last 30 years, the UK has shown that economic success and environmental responsibility go in hand, and it's a real priority for us across everything we do. Early action on clean growth means that we have nurtured a broad range of low carbon industries and are world leading in some sectors of that. It's not just about our focus on that though, our wider strength supported it. So the scientific research base in the UK, expertise in high value services and financial industries have all supported that, as well as a regulatory framework that provides long-term direction and support for innovation and excellence in design and manufacturing of technology. We have a truly world-leading offer for investors across the clean growth economy. So we've accelerated the opportunities for investment across renewable energy, zero-emission vehicle technologies, sustainable consumption, infrastructure, and green finance. On top of that, the UK is a premier destination for scaling up businesses overall. We combine talent, creativity, innovation, and we have a dynamic and mature ecosystem that means it's a great platform from which to take companies to the next level. We're a global technology leader. We have the third largest digital technology sector in the world with state-of-the-art capabilities and resources, meaning we can stay ahead of the curve. Every year, the UK government helps thousands of businesses expand to the UK. It's the core of what we do. and it's assisted by policies that create an innovative environment, help with networking and collaboration, and tax and financial incentives geared towards investment in new technologies, meaning UK companies have a significant global advantage. It's also really straightforward to set up or expand your business to the UK, which is a real selling point. You can choose how your company operates, and it's very quick to set up a private limited UK company online, just 24 hours. We offer attractive venture capital schemes to help small and medium enterprises expand. We have generous incentives for companies, especially investing in research and development to promote fast-growing innovative services and products. I could keep going on and on about the great opportunities for doing business in the UK. There are many, and I'm hoping you'll hear much more about that as you hear from others. And so it's probably best for me to let those experts speak. I want to finish by saying we really do want to welcome more and more Chilean entrepreneurs and businesses into the United Kingdom. You will find a really innovative and dynamic economy, an ecosystem there, and obviously the UK benefits so much from the offer and the innovation and the partnership with Chile. Much like Nicolas, I want to invite you to get in touch with my team here in the embassy so we can show you how we can help you looking at expanding and making your way to the UK. Very sadly, I have to head off to another event, so I won't be able to stick around for too much longer, but I want to say thank you once again for joining you. Thank you for inviting me to come along, and I hope the rest of the workshop goes well.
Thank you so much, Tracy. So as Tracy was saying, we can be talking about the UK a lot, but what is really interesting and the reason why we invite our amazing set of panels is what best than people that are in the business to tell you about it. So we have an amazing panel of 3 panelists. The first one is Paula España. Paula is a deal maker for the Global Entrepreneur Program, a serial entrepreneur who has been also living and spending some time in the UK. I won't even dare continue introducing you, Paula, because your curriculum is very extensive. So without further ado, I invite you to the stage to share your insights about the Global Entrepreneur Program and what the UK has to offer. Gracias, Paula. You are on mute, I'm afraid.
Sorry.
Don't worry.
Well, muchas gracias, Jorge. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for being here. It's a pleasure. And well, yes, as you said, I'm part now of the Global Entrepreneur Program, but I'm an entrepreneur myself. And the Global Entrepreneur Program, I fall in love with this program some time ago when I was not working with it yet. It is a kind of accelerator. It's a program from the UK government that helps non-UK based founders to set up and scale up their businesses from the UK globally. And it's this support that the Global Entrepreneur Program provides has kind of 3 main things that I think that are the most important, even though it complies of more things that what I'm going to say. The first thing is that this is free. You are getting free help from a group of 25 entrepreneurs. All the deal makers that are part of the Global Entrepreneur Programs are all ex-entrepreneurs, which I think that this is amazing because all of us have been through the pains of the journey of moving our companies from different places. In my case, was from Argentina to the UK and then scaling it up from there. But all the rest of the entrepreneurs have done the same journey. Some of them were in the UK already, and we have all the networks, all the contacts, that the idea is to help you make a soft landing even softer. So basically, as I said, well, I think that the benefits that this program brings is that, first of all, as I said, this is free. It is also a group of entrepreneurs, so you will feel very empathetic with the help that we will be providing. And the Global Entrepreneur Programs provides visa endorsement. This is very important because in most of the cases, specifically after Brexit, all the entrepreneurs that are moving to the UK are needing also a visa for them, a visa for their families to move and establish their companies correctly. And well, the Global Entrepreneur Programs helps with the visa endorsement. Then we also provide mentoring, as I said, assistance with relocating in the UK. We provide introductions to key networks, including investors, guidance on how to grow, specifically internally, but also internationally. There are a set of events that once you are inside the program, you can participate. There is also the network of entrepreneurs. So as I said, one of the things that amazed me the most of this program is that our entrepreneurs supporting other entrepreneurs doing the same journey. So in a summary, the role of the deal maker is supporting the international founders who want to set up their headquarters in the UK. And we will do these things to be, we will help you to do this, be sure that, well, you will be having support in terms of legal support, accounting support, opening a bank account, that it is very complicated sometimes, doing the setup of the company. So basically, to qualify for this program, you must be an entrepreneur that has your company based overseas. The company has to have an innovative technology. You must be willing to relocate either your headquarters in the UK, or another alternative is to open an office of research and development. So, well, the process is super easy. It takes just a few weeks, depends on, well, on how the company is. But in some cases, if the company, as we say, this is a kind of accelerator, a kind of a virtual accelerator. So we analyze the company and we will help you, and we will work together to help you go through each of the steps to, well, to be sure that your company is ready to go. One of the things that for us is crucial is that we know and we understand that we are both in the same page, that you feel that it is your moment to go to the UK, and that when it is your moment, also that you are ready, that everything in the company is ready to go. So we will help you through all that journey, first here in Latin America, and in parallel in the UK with another deal maker in the UK. We work normally in pairs. And then when you have moved to the UK, you will have also all the network of all the rest of 22 deal makers that are based there, helping you specifically with your vertical. In this case, well, this case is very interesting for me because I am the deal maker for Latin America and the Caribbean, but also my background is in sustainable innovation. And there are other people that have expertise in climate tech, deep tech, well, different specific verticals related to this in the UK. So we work together to help you, as I said before, making connections with universities, with tech hubs, with potential investors, and potential clients as well. So, well, hopefully I was clear enough. I can provide more information after the call if you are interested. And well, we are here to help you make this journey smoother. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula. I'm sure that the audience will have more than questions, but we can follow up them at the end of the presentation. So based on Nicolas and Tracy's words, there are a lot of opportunities between Chile and the UK. And then there is opportunities because there are people and different institutions that are willing to help. So you have the British government through the Department for International Trade, but also the UK has a strong system of clusters that are located in different parts of the UK. One of them is what is called the Golden Triangle, where Cambridge is located. So that's why we wanted to invite to the floor to our next panelist, Martin Garrett, Chief Executive of Cambridge Clean Tech.
Thank you, Jorge, and buenos dias, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can but it's not on presenting mode yet.
Is that better?
Not yet. I think you will need to press enable editing and then to click down so you can start the presentation properly. Perfect. Now we can see it perfectly.
Okay, right. Thank you for that. So again, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Martin Garrett, and I'm the Chief Executive at Cambridge Clean Tech, which is a membership network for the clean tech sector in the Cambridge, Oxford, London region, and also across the UK. And what I'm going to tell you about today is a little bit of background about clean tech in the UK more generally, some information about Cambridge Clean Tech ourselves as well, the UK's leading cluster network for the clean tech sector. Some information on and some ideas around some of the highly innovative companies that are springing up in the UK in response to the climate crisis. And then just a little bit more to supplement what Paula was saying on what we can help provide in terms of soft landing support for entry into the UK market in clean tech in particular. So just some facts and figures that you can see there on the screen about turnover in the low carbon economy in the UK going back a couple of years, probably about 50 billion UK or GB pounds, and constantly growing. We recognise today that working amongst be it academia, the private sector corporates or private sector SMEs, innovators, and the public sector, sustainability is at the top of everybody's agenda in the UK, as I'm sure it is in Chile and many other nations across the globe. Just an interesting snippet for you there in that second bullet, that a couple of summers ago we had the longest time in the UK that we did not need to use coal-fired generation or coal-fired power to generate electricity, and that was the first time since the 19th century, over 100 years basically, and that lasted, that not needing to use coal to generate electricity lasted for nearly 70 days basically. So everything is moving very much in the right direction, and of course that's partly because of renewable energy in that particular case. And what we're also seeing is that the sector is very resilient. So a decade plus ago in the financial crash, the clean tech sector continues to grow at nearly 5%, and it's highly productive. It really does add to the GDP of the country. So notwithstanding the fact that you're probably aware we've just got a new government in the UK, the previous government had set up this 10-point plan for what they called was a green industrial revolution. So again, going back 150 years ago, the UK was the first nation to industrialise in the first industrial revolution. And the UK government is now penning our next phase of development as the green industrial revolution. And they've picked out 10 areas of clean tech activity that they wish the UK to excel in. You can see the 10 points there, everything from offshore wind to greener public transport, and from greener buildings to green finance and innovation. Again, something that you're hearing about from one of the earlier speakers. So the green economy is certainly growing. Again, here just going down into some more detail on some of those 10 points that the government has outlined. So offshore wind, with the aim to quadruple offshore wind capacity by 2030. $1 billion UK or GB pounds worth of grants for green homes. You can see the government is very much priming the sector and encouraging the development of green or clean tech businesses across the country. Again, a similar amount of funding available for electrification of vehicles, and in fact the government have said that by 2030 the only new cars that you can buy in terms of private transport, your own car in the UK, has to be electric, or what it can't be, I should say, is petrol or diesel. There'll be no fossil fuel powered cars being sold as new vehicles from 2030 onwards. And that's, well, it's just 8 years away. So quite a transition coming up. On the other side of the coin there, you can see some funds being pumped into public sector transport, which of course is equally, if not more important. So what about the climate crisis? Well, we're all doing well, aren't we? We had a terrific COP26 in Glasgow in October last year. And of course, we've got Egypt coming up shortly as COP27. But this bar chart that I saw from one of the companies presenting at one of our events highlights the amount of CO2 in metric tons that we need to eradicate to keep the globe, if you will, on track for this 2.5 degrees of warming. And we have to reduce our outputs, as you can see in the left-hand column, by 26.8 billion tons. And what did we achieve at COP26? 6.3 billion. So some way off, maybe not quite, not even a quarter of the way there yet. So lots of work to be undertaken. And I think that underlies the opportunities in the clean tech sector. Better news on the investing side. There's been a 4.9-fold increase in finance or investment in the clean tech sector since the Paris Accord in 2016. And that brings the annual total of investment globally into the clean tech sector to 32.3 billion US dollars. So you can see the trajectory or the trend in investment into the clean tech sector. The time is now, and if you've got a business in the sector, you're in the right place. So that was just some background on clean tech in the UK and about investment trends more generally. Some information now on Cambridge Clean Tech. We've been in operation just over 10 years. We had our 10-year anniversary at the same time as COP26 in October last year. And this cluster that was mentioned earlier in the Cambridge region started way back 50, 60 years ago in the 1970s, very much ICT and telecoms as the first wave. That was followed by life sciences. And then more recently, clean tech is the next wave of that development. But where those waves have taken place in the cluster, you can see in this Venn diagram that it doesn't mean they displace each other. Where these circles overlap is where you start to see people gathering at the coffee machines and the water fountains and the lunch locations, the cafes, in the various incubators and innovation centres in the Cambridge region. People come together and put 2 and 2 together, but they don't make 4, they make 5 or 6. So one area of innovation overlaps with another, and all of a sudden you get more spin-out companies along the way. Our definition of clean tech, just to be clear, is the UK government's low carbon environmental goods and services definition, which is a bit of a mouthful, so we call it clean tech. And it's 3 overall sectors. In the yellow, it's renewable energy, wind, wave, photovoltaic. In green, it's low carbon, using less energy. So that could be smart cities, it could be smart grid, low carbon vehicles. Then in the blue, we have the environmental subsectors, and that might be waste management and water treatment, for example. So across the UK, we're based in Cambridge. We started here 10 years ago. More recently, about 3 years ago, we set up and now own and manage Oxfordshire Green Tech as our equivalent in Oxford. And we do work for the Mayor of London's Clean Tech team, effectively creating, if you're familiar with the UK geography, and as Jorge mentioned earlier, this golden, or you might even say green triangle. I think that's what we prefer to call it. And you can see on the right-hand side, we work in other parts of the UK as well, across the country. We're also very active across Europe. We have several dozen partners, all the way from the Nordics, right the way down through North and Southern Europe, even as far as Israel. And we undertake a range of projects with those partners across Europe, all focused on providing opportunities for our members. And just a slide I thought I would throw in about little old Cambridge. Cambridge has a population of 100,000. And that's when the students are in town. When the students are not here, it drops down to about 80,000. But look at it punching above its weight in this survey by Savills, the real estate company. And they were looking at the most innovative and dynamic cities in Europe. So the point scoring system will be based on the number of patents that are being issued in each area, and the proportion of high-tech jobs set against the total number of jobs in any given area. So you can see Cambridge there batting above its weight with what are mostly capital cities in Europe. So that's Cambridge Clean Tech, but what's happening in the area? What is coming out of Cambridge which is new, novel, interesting? Could it be applied in Chile? Are there ideas here that you're interested in as businesses in Chile? Do you want to come over here and set up and meet some of these people? So just a few of the ideas. Here we have energy being created with every step you take. So this is Kinetic Energy. This is at Heathrow Airport in London. You need a heavily footfalled or heavily trafficked area to make this happen. But the spongy pads that you can see there on the floor tiles convert the kinetic energy from your steps, and the wall lighting on the side is powered by the steps that people are taking. What about your trip to the airport? Well, this is at Terminal 5 at Heathrow. These pods developed from some of the expertise in the Formula One racing sector. All of the Formula One teams, apart from one of them, have the R&D facilities between Oxford and Cambridge in the UK. As your pub quiz, you have to tell me at the end which one does not have its R&D facility in the UK. But this type of material, these composites that have been developed for Formula One, are now being used on these pods that take people from the hotels to Terminal 5. They're electric. They go on this circuit that you can see here with the barriers, and they are driverless. So a very green way to get you to the terminal. And if that's for you, what about your beer and pizza? If you're watching the football match and you need some replenishment at half-time, these small mobile units are being trialled in Milton Keynes and in South London. You place your order at the convenience store, they pack the goods into this robotic vehicle, and off it trots to your home to bring you your beer and pizza at half-time, if that's what you're looking for. Moving on from transport, looking at the circular economy, this is a lavatory, a public toilet which uses 80% less water than a traditional lavatory. Also in the circular economy, these are coffee grinds from Starbucks or Costa, all the coffee shops that many of us go into these days. This company secures all the ground coffee beans that have been used, takes them away from the cafes and shops, and creates them into briquettes, which can be used as a fuel. Presumably give off quite a nice smell into the bargain as well. So just moving on from some of those highly innovative ideas which are coming out of there, I hope they resonate with some of the ideas that you're developing in Chile and South America. Just a slide here thrown in to say we do a lot of international work. So I mentioned that we work in the UK, we work in Europe. I was in India last week. We've been doing some program work for the FCDO, the UK Foreign Office, out of Delhi, and one of the last programs we ran was an accelerator for 24 companies, 16 from India. You can see there on the right-hand side, highly innovative, and 8 from the UK. A rapid 3-month acceleration program culminating in a venture day pitching for funding, and some of those companies have now secured funding from some of the investors on our database. So how can we help? Just to finish off, how can we help with business support? We've already heard from Paula with the entrepreneur scheme. More locally in Cambridge and Oxford, we undertake a whole series of events. So if you come to the UK, it's an excellent chance to network. You can see there, this is, I should say, over the last 10 years. This is from our sort of 10-year impact report, having just had our birthday a few months ago. Over 8,000 attendees and 200 plus events. You can see there the European projects, a whole raft of special interest group on different topics, and 30 plus cluster network partners across the globe. So quite a range of activity that we undertake. What else can we provide? Well, we reside in Cambridge in the Cleantech incubator, as we do in Oxford. So if you come into the UK and you want to be the heart of the Cleantech and the innovative community, then there is space available for you, from hot desking to small offices to larger spaces if you expand, and even dry lab facilities with a concrete floor and a workbench, and a Bunsen burner in the corner, a sink and everything else that you may need, data, rail, electricity supply. So that sort of dry lab facility for clean tech companies, very popular in Cambridge as well. We can also provide access to finance. So twice a year, we run a Cleantech Venture Day event, which is essentially a pitching day, similar to Dragon's Den or Shark Tank. Not sure which one you have in Chile, as a variation of the TV shows. But essentially, normally we have over 100 companies apply to pitch from across the globe. And the 24 most investment ready are chosen by a series of judges, including the head of enterprise at KPMG. And those 24 pitch on the day, but we give them a full day's training in how to pitch as well. And that includes discussions with investors, and then we have the day itself and ample chance for networking along with the pitch itself. And just an example of one company, a smart company based just south of Cambridge called Airex. They do smart ventilation for local authority housing. So the ventilation bricks are automated by the use of sensors. They presented at one of our CBDs and got a multi-million-pound investment from Barclays, the UK bank. They now have a sustainable impact fund. And we also undertake, just as another example, collaborations between what we call innovation-hungry corporates and the innovators. So this is part of a European program led by Cleantech Delta, our equivalent in Rotterdam, but involving 6 countries that you can see in that highly innovative Northwest Europe geography. We've taken 100 corporates through this program, and that's a result. Well, what we do is that we provide and help them create a 2-page innovation challenge. A particular corporate like Johnson Matthey or Arm, based in Cambridge, are looking for innovation to be more sustainable, and they will. We will send that innovation challenge out across Europe. You can see there in the sort of bluey purple colour. The last one we did, we had 60 responses. It was for Cranfield University. They had £5 million GB to green their campus. A long list of 60 companies. They've chosen to meet with 12 of them, and maybe a couple of those will then secure contracts. Over 30 contracts have been signed between the innovators and the corporates on the back of that programme. And here's an example. So Bidfood is a Dutch transporter of foods for the catering industry, and Dearman, a company based just south of Cambridge, supplied them with nitrogen refrigeration, which has reduced their CO2 output by 35%. So all the work we do, as well as being a financial benefit for the companies, helps with the climate crisis as well. And I'll just finish off the final slide. A couple of examples of companies in Cambridge that are run by Latin American individuals. So CamNexus, based originally at the university, spun out from the university, and is being taken forward by Jessica Ocampos, who is actually from Chile. And that's all to do with sensors for vegetable and fruit growing to optimize the growing of food products. And Enval, which is run by a Mexican, Carlos, who refurbish aluminium drinks cans and recreate them as aluminium blocks for going back into industry instead of them going into landfill. So just a couple of live examples to show that Latin America is alive itself in Cambridge. Thank you very much, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you so much for your presentation and your insights about the market and moreover about what the UK has to offer. And thank you as well for the update on the green triangle instead of the golden one. I will add it to my further speeches. Cheers for that. Okay. So we had already the government talking about what they're doing in order to support entrepreneurs, right? And then how the ecosystem represented by Cambridge Clean Tech is helping entrepreneurs going to the next step, right? But what happens with entrepreneurs? That's why we're very honored to have here to Jose Manuel Moller, CEO of Algramo. So I think that I don't need any further introductions for Agramo. So Jose Manuel, first of all, thank you so much for being here. And yeah, the floor is all yours to share your insights, the do's and don'ts, the tricks to survive on this cold, windy, and challenging city.
Thanks, Jorge, and thanks for the invitation. Happy to share part of my journey. So I've been here in the UK for almost a year and a half, but has been quite interesting. So maybe starting from the beginning, I'm Jose Manuel, the CEO and founder of Agramo, a company that I started almost 10 years ago in Chile. For the ones that may not know, Agramo means by the gram. And I work into the packaging and refill space. So I'm into the clean tech, but on the packaging side. What we do, we develop some technology, dispenser machines for retailers that they could offer their product into reusable packaging. We have something that we call packaging as a wallet that offers all the traceability of the quality of the product, batch production, expired date, replenishment, etc. for the companies, but also for the consumer. We offer them the impact, how much plastic they have been saving, and some companies, they can give you a deposit in money into the packaging for the next purchase, acting like a loyalty club through packaging. So I started this company almost, I was saying, 10 years ago in Chile, but I decided in 2018 to scale it because I realized that we were working in the mom-pop stores in the almacenes in Chile, where we had a great impact. We were reaching 1,500 mom-pop stores, but I realized that the mom-pop store market in Chile represents 20% of the market, and Chile as a whole produced 0.25% of the global emissions. So whatever that we do in Chile, if we are vegan, zero waste, cycling everywhere, maybe we're going to be a good example for Latam, but we're not going to move the needle. Which means that if you want to have an impact in terms of environment, you have to export and to go outside Chile. That's my first definition, I would say. Thinking on climate tech and sustainability, by far, the region is Europe. So as a planet, we are learning from sustainability from Europe. So that was the first discussion that we have internally, and tell you how was this journey to decide how to start here in the UK. So once that we were convinced about Europe because of regulation, because of consumer brands, etc. Actually, most of the brands that are doing real efforts on sustainability are based in Europe, not in America. Again, America is a continent. And so after deciding Europe, and I'm going to be really transparent, we were discussing between three places to have the headquarters or this business development headquarters, as Paula was saying before. We were deciding between Amsterdam, Paris, and London. And to be more honest, I was personally pushing for Amsterdam in the beginning because I was looking for a smaller city, etc. And we were discussing between three areas. One, the focus on sustainability, which, for example, Amsterdam also has it. Market size, where Amsterdam was much smaller and London is still interesting. But there were two other things that were quite relevant. One is investment, VCs. Most of the investment on startup in Europe goes through London. And the last one was our partner. One of our main partners is Unilever, which is based here in London. And we realized that most of the brands, and this is the last point, they were testing refill solutions in the UK. So for us, this was like the Silicon Valley, I would say, in terms of reuse and pilots. Most of the brands, they were saying, okay, our market to test was going to be the UK. And that's why we picked UK and specifically London. So once we decided this, we were full in COVID mode. Chile was really strict. I know, Jorge, you remember me. Actually, I want to thank you publicly. You are supporting this because, first of all, we didn't know anything about the UK. So one thing is to decide where you want to go, but the next step is quite challenging. So I'm actually glad of what Paula was presenting. I would love to knew her before because it's not easy, even in any country, not especially UK. Moving from Latam to Europe, I would say it's quite challenging from visa, bank, locations, etc. And during COVID was more challenging. In that said, my point of contact was always Jorge, which in that moment was working on the other side from the UK embassy, which was really, really useful for many things. One, to understand the context, why this market was so relevant into clean techs. Secondly, what is involved? What are the steps to get involved and to have a visa to live in the UK? And third, to help me to speed up the process. Because again, for example, the visa, normally the people that comes to London, they were or studying or working with an existing company, but where you're bringing your own business, is a different step and different journey. In our case, we got what is called business representative visa, which is someone that has an existing company, which I think is going to be the case for any LATAM entrepreneur, with an existing company that they're exporting their solution into the UK. That was the path that we choose. There are others as well, but for us works really well. So I got my own visa, then we set up the company, and then we start running the business. So part of the challenges that we have, most of them that were influenced by COVID. I would say that now I think that they're not going to be there anymore. But it was quite challenging to get the time, the visa, the passport, etc., to get here. And in terms of operation, how it's been going, we realized that, first of all, as I was mentioned before, the discussion here is much more evolved than it's in LATAM. So to give real examples, so we start first working with, and actually today's public, I can say, we work with Lidl. Lidl is a German retail chain that is one of the most relevant here in the UK. We start working with them in April, which is like after 9 months after we arrived here in the UK. And the discussion with them wasn't about why they should be doing refill or reusing packaging, because here it's already known that this is going to happen anyway. The discussion was why Algramo was better than the other option, which for me was the best discussion, because most of the time in other parts, I have to spend a lot of time explaining why sustainability is important, why we should be doing this, why, I don't know, there's a lot of pressure, etc. I would say that UK is one of the most conscious markets in terms of that the market is going to change. We need to change in many areas, energy, transport, consumption, etc. And they want to be leaders here. So actually, from the rest of Europe, Little UK was the most advanced and pushing this conversation. They decided to pilot with us. Actually, we start first in Birmingham. Next week, actually, we are adding 2 extra locations. And then the plan is to expand with them within the region. But what is interesting is it's not like moving from pilot to, I don't know, in 3 locations to 6 locations. They need to be much more aggressively, hopefully nationwide. That's something that I haven't seen in any other market. Because most of the time they're testing, they're doing for the PR, and then they expand a little bit. But here the decision is between who is going to be the company, who's going to be leading this, but it's going to happen anyway. So in terms of what I have been seeing, in terms of the market itself, it's really attractive in terms of the retailers as well, at least. Comparing the results of what we have been doing, comparing Chile and the UK. In Chile, we have been working with Walmart in several locations with the white label brand products, and also with Unilever into Walmart. And comparing the results with everywhere has been great, but the result here has been at least 3 times faster than what we saw in Chile. Real example. In Algramo, we measure what is called refill rate, which means how many of the sales of that month were a returning customer with a returning bottle. Because I don't know, when you have the same customer, but he forgot the bottle, so he's purchasing a new bottle. So we're tracking all of the packaging. And in Chile, it took us a year and a half to reach 60% refill rate. And in the UK, after 4 months, we're over 70%. So the answer from the consumer has been more than 3 times faster and better than in Chile, which means that people is aligned with reuse. They understand much faster, and the market is ready for this. The thing is, this needs to scale. So, but in terms of real result from business, for us has been even much more attractive, the UK than Chile. I would say that next year, the volume is going to be the main country is going to be the UK, especially with what is coming in terms of scale-ups. So in terms of real results, more than, I don't know, slogans, I would say for us has been the best market in terms of results, in terms of partners. And the third layer that I would add that it's quite relevant as well for entrepreneur is investment. So again, in clean tech, I would say most of the VCs that there have a thesis on clean tech, or at least circular economy, they're Europeans. That's the first sentence, at least from what I have been seeing. And most of them, they're based in the UK. Actually, before this meeting, I was having a lunch with one of the VCs that is focused only on circular economy. And they have to invest 200 million pounds only in circular economy in the coming years. And that I haven't seen that in any other market, in other country. And that is happening already. And this is only going to be growing because of the commitments of several brands, funds, governments, etc. So the market's moving to one direction. And where it's going to happen first is going to be in the UK. So because of those 3 layers, I would say, first of all, our partners, the retail, Secondly, the consumer, and third, investment. For us, I would say it's gonna be the hub for Europe. We're gonna be exporting from the UK to rest of Europe. Plus, something that could sound as a detail, but it's relevant when you establish your business in terms of taxes and incentives, especially after Brexit. The UK is even more attractive than before because they're making this market more attractive to have more startups we are doing now in this conversation. So technically, also it's more attractive to have the headquarters of at least an entity here. In our case, all of the royalties of different operations are going to go through the UK, and here we're going to be receive them. Maybe that could sound technical, but also it's another check that I would say that the startup they have to do. So if it's tax efficient to have a company set up in the UK or not, competing with other regions. So there's different layers that I would say that make this market really attractive. And another layer is to live here. That could sound maybe superficial, but also it's quite relevant. How it's to live here. For me and for my wife has been an amazing experience to see how this is like a really fast-moving market in terms of innovation, trials, brands. Also, the quality of life here is quite attractive, different from what we have been seeing in Latam. And when you see how I don't know, in Latam today is really attractive to recycle. Here is something quite common. No one posts on Instagram here recycling. That happens, I don't know, in Latam, which is quite brand new. So it shows that this market is ready for the next step, and the next step is going to be much more aggressive into clean tech solutions. And I would recommend, at least based on my experience, and this is not a cliche, I haven't been paid anything to mention this, but I would say that the UK is one of the hubs globally, and I would say it's the most relevant today. So that has been part of my journey in terms of why we picked the UK, why we picked to be based here. And also happy to answer from really domestic questions, because most of the time we hear a lot of why a market as a market is interesting, but maybe in concrete, what are the next steps, what to do next after deciding to move into UK, I think is what is needed from an entrepreneur perspective. And just to finish my idea, normally, especially coming from Chile, when we think to scale up an organization, the natural steps would be to move from Chile, and I know, set up really well in Chile, then move to Peru, maybe after 5 years to move to Colombia, and maybe after 5 years to Mexico. That was the traditional route. For us, we moved from Chile to the UK, and that maybe it's not that common, but I would say if your path is climate tech, the decision about climate tech, they're happening in Europe and they're lead in London. So Peru, Colombia, or Mexico, they're great market if you have like an, I don't know, traditional product that maybe fits very well in Chile and you want to test it. But if you want to move the needle and to be with the decision makers, that's not going to happen in Latam. It's going to happen in London, I would say. At least based on our experience, in the beginning, part of the investors that were doubtful about moving from Chile to UK before scaling up into the Latin American markets. But I would say was the best decision, because at the end, what is happening in Latam, at least for us, is decision is made here in the UK and then impacts Latam. So the closer that you could be with your partners, in our case is Unilever and Nestle, the better. And the most fast-moving market or with the biggest readiness, but is the better as well. So for us, that's why we picked this, and we have been reading results. We hope to see more scale-ups in the coming years with different partners, more than just one retailer. And I'm really happy and open to answer some really from the domestic question and detail if you want to know. Thanks, Jorge.
Thank you, Jose Manuel. So now I would like to invite our three panelists, Martin, Paula, and Jose Manuel, to stay in the line so we can start with a Q&A, with a quick Q&A. We have our first question, and that's for Jose Manuel. So someone from the audience is asking about your insights and your opinion about if you think that this green trend is going to be maintained after COP26.
Yeah, I would say that this was before the COP, and it's gonna, and this is something in general. The clean tech and sustainability is here to stay. It's not a trend. And actually, what we have been seeing, I don't know if there's other entrepreneurs here, but there's a lot of noise in terms of the investment market now that's really constrained. But there's two worlds, I would say. If your thesis is sustainability, you cannot say, I don't know, I'm going to invest next year, because every actually month it's gold, it's pure gold. So with the market is going to move forward in any case. That said, I have been seeing that the consumer, first of all, to be honest, I don't know if the COP affects that much the end consumer. It's more like the corporate world and the governments, but it's not like, I don't know, the consumer say, the COP has been in my market, now I'm going to be more sustainable. I haven't seen that. I would say that that's the purpose actually of the COP. It's more on government level and corporate. And I would say, yes, this is moving to one direction. It's getting more aggressive and more aggressive, which is great. The challenge is how we could speed up that process. But I would say that the UK is going to be one of the fastest markets for that.
Thank you, Jose Manuel. I please invite you to drop your question on the chat box. We have a few, but please do not hesitate on keep bringing them. So my next question is for Paula. The first question that I got asked, every time when I talk about UK and when I try to sell, is about price, right? So if I have a company, if I want to apply to the Global Entrepreneur Program, is there a fee that I will need to pay in order to be accepted on the program? How does it work?
No, you do not need to pay anything. That's one of the beauties of the program. You need to apply. You need to get in contact with us to our website, directly through our emails. We can provide our contact details. And there are certain steps. First of all, we have kind of an interview where we understand the state of the company and the appetite of the founder to move to the UK, to understand if they want to set up the headquarters or if they want to do a research and development center. Well, to really understand what they want and if that is aligned with the reality of the company. Because sometimes it is not, so we help them kind of get ready to that moment when they will be ready to enter the program. Once we feel that we understand they are ready to get into the Global Entrepreneur Program, there is a series of forms of papers they have to complete. It is super easy. It is just present a business plan and complete a form. And after that, this goes to, well, there are other information that we need to gather as well when they need to apply for a visa. When the process includes the visa, it is very easy, but it requires a bit more information. We help you with that, and after that, we present all the information together to the investment committee. Then three things can happen. First is that the investment committee says, okay, the company is okay, it's green, so you're ready to go. After that, we help you set up the company in the UK. You will receive also the endorsement letter to present this all together with your visa application. And after that, well, you are ready to go. You are going to be accepted in the program once you have your company set up. And well, you will be accepted in the program and you start kind of using the GP for the benefit and for your moving to the UK. And normally some weeks later, you receive the response from the visa. I say normally because now, well, with the Ukrainian war, unfortunately, some things are a bit delayed, but it will take, instead of 4 weeks, maximum of 12 weeks. And well, there are other cases where you do not receive a green from the investment committee, you receive kind of a yellow or a red. If it is a yellow, it means that there are some questions that you will need to answer, to clarify, to really understand if the company is ready to go to the UK. It's very important for us that the company is ready to go to the UK, because otherwise you're going to be wasting a lot of money and it is not going to be a success. So the idea in those cases, when either the company is not ready and you received a yellow or you received a red, we help you get there and to be green in your next time, and you can apply more than once. So if you were not accepted the first time, that doesn't mean that you are never going to be accepted.
Right.
I hope that clarifies.
Yes, it did. Before I continue with the questions, I would like to thank Jose Manuel. I know, Jose Manuel, you need to dash to another meeting. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for the invitation. Also happy to, if anyone has another question internally, Jorge has my contact, and feel free to share it if you want to know, I don't know, how this from the other side. So happy to share the experience and some recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you. So I just had another question for Martin this time. So Martin, does the Cambridge Clean Tech Hub have any successful cases in the digital water sector or in the wastewater treatment sector that you can think of? You are on mute, I'm afraid.
Apologies, I'd muted myself. Yes, in the wastewater treatment sector, there's quite a number of companies. One of them has created it. It's like a football-sized sensor, which is used in the wastewater treatment arena. And this sort of football sensor sort of sits in the wastewater treatment vat, if I can call it that, and monitors the condition of the wastewater. And this reduces the need to do manual testing and to send personnel around to the various wastewater treatment sites, because the sensors pick up all of the information from this football that sort of floats on the vat of material and sends the information digitally back to the headquarters of the water treatment company. So it's quite a saving in terms of the cost of doing surveys, and you get instant response in terms of how the water treatment process is performing. So that's just one example in water treatment. And the other area was to do with, was it big data or wireless technology?
Yeah, digital water, yeah.
I think in wireless technology, I think I would go into the smart cities arena or sector. There's quite a number of companies providing different solutions to better enable smarter facilities management of individual buildings. I mean, one company that works with hotels, for example, has a system whereby if a particular hotel customer uses the same hotel chain all the time, and they have a preferred temperature for the bedroom that they're going to be sleeping in any particular city globally, the software picks up the name of the individual who might be staying in one hotel one night, another hotel in the next city another night, and so on. And the room is set to the preferred temperature for that individual. So it's enhanced customer service in that particular example. But quite a lot of activity in smart cities generally, with also, for example, street furniture being used to disguise 4G masts and so on in the middle of cities to provide better connectivity for the public as they're walking around with their mobile phones. So yeah, quite a range of activity in that area.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, really interesting, the different development. I hope that in my next hotel, whatever I say, they can have that technology. So the room is already accurate to the temperature that I like. So I imagine that you have all very busy agendas. So I would like to thank Martin again and Paula for being here. Also for following us. As I was saying, this event is already recorded, so we invite you to look it back if you want to. After the event, we're going to be sending the information and the presentation that Martin shared and the contact details of ProChile and the Department for International Trade, so you can follow up conversations on that. I think that the ball is on your side. The UK has a lot of things to offer. Industry, government, foreign government, as the Chilean, where we work hand by hand to support entrepreneurs like you. So if you want to come here, please reach out to us. And thank you very much. Wish you a lovely day, and see you soon in UK. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Audrey.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Right.